I woke up this morning and I decided, you know what? I'm going to tell you guys why the Bears season is not over, at least not yet. Before I get into today's show, I want to ask you guys, what is your biggest concern for the Bears through 2 games? You could go plenty of directions. I would say probably the defense, and with the injuries now, that's a little bit concerning, but you guys let me know down in the comments section. All right, I don't think the Bears season is over. I know it's easy to say that it is, and maybe it is, but I'm going to choose to be glass half full guy today. Listen, yesterday was brutal. You ran into a buzzsaw. You ran into a team that wanted to embarrass you, and you did, and they did. And that sucks. But that does not mean that this season is over. You look at the NFC North right now, there is a gap between the top 2 and the bottom 2. The Bears and the Vikings, we saw last week, and we definitely saw how the Vikings play last night. That's a team the Bears can beat. And that is what's frustrating. It'll suck if the Bears do find a way to stack up some wins, and if we get toward the end of the season and losing that week 1 game is a pivotal loss, that would stink. But I think the Bears could beat the Vikings when they play them again. That loss does sting, though. We got to be honest. I mean, we watched last night, at least I did a reaction show on my other channel, 4 Verts. To not step on their throat and finish that game is pretty disappointing. But you got to flush it, and you got to move forward. And now, to me, it's about the next 2 games. It's first and foremost about Dallas against Matt Eberflus and company. We'll talk about that. Then it's the Raiders. Then it's the bye week. If you somehow, some way, find a way to win these next 2 games, the season is absolutely back on. Even 1-3, you're not completely dead. But to me, it all comes down to this next game. You have to beat Dallas. And if you do, there's a world where you could get to 2-2 and get to the bye week, take a deep breath, maybe some key guys return from injury, maybe you start to hit your stride and be more consistent and stop, beating yourself in a lot of ways, and maybe you can make a little bit of a push. Right now, it doesn't feel like that's possible, but that's what you have to be telling yourself. That's what they got to be saying in the building. Guys, it's about Dallas. Got to beat Dallas, get win number 1, and then go from there. And I would imagine that is the message at Hallis Hall today. Okay, how do you save the season? It starts with just that. You got to beat Dallas next week. You have to beat the Cowboys. And look, while we've seen some signs from Caleb Williams in this passing game, we'll talk a little bit more about that later, Russell Wilson just had a renaissance resurgence against Matt Eberflus and the Cowboys defense. He threw for 450 yards and 3 touchdowns. Now, in week 1, Jalen Hurts did not do that, so, we'll see what we get from the Cowboys defense. It's an outdoor game at Soldier Field, which can be tough for elements versus indoor at AT&T Stadium. I'm not sitting here saying I expect Caleb to throw for 4 bills, but what I am saying is Dallas's personnel on defense isn't that great. You can score points on this team, and I'll be straight up, I do not know if I can handle losing to Matt Eberflus this week. That would be rock bottom, I think. If you get out coached and lose to Matt Eberflus, the guy we all ran out of town, we got the picket fences up, see you later. That would be tough to take. But just like the Lions were motivated to beat Ben Johnson, and not the same situation, he left on his own, Flus got fired. I hope the Bears, the players in that locker room who wanted a new voice, are motivated to beat this guy. And I know he's not the head coach, and he's certainly not a bad guy by any means. I've got nothing personal against Flus, but you better put your money where your mouth is if you're players on this Bears team. You wanted him out. We all did. You better beat him. You better freaking beat him, because if you don't, the noise is only going to get louder. I want to see it spammed in the comments all week long. Beat Flus. Beat Flus. Because not only should you want to beat that guy, you should also want to get the season back on track. And to do that, you have to beat Eberflus and the Cowboys. So get the beat Flus chants going down in the comments section. Okay, number 2, and this might be the toughest one to figure out, especially if certain guys aren't playing. You got to find some answers on defense. The last 5 quarters, Dennis Allen's group has just been absolutely shredded. 73 points, starting with that 4th quarter in Minnesota. And like that quarter was almost worse than what we saw yesterday. Guys, I don't know if you've watched J.J. McCarthy. He's played one good quarter, and that quarter got you beat. That is just a tough pill to swallow because he could not play last night. I mean, it was. I mean, I think Minnesota is waking up feeling pretty lucky. They're 1-1, and as a Bears fan, I'm pretty pissed off for 0-2. As bad as yesterday was, if you would have just closed that game out week 1, hey, you're 1-1. You split those NFC North games. I would have taken it. But Dennis Allen's got to figure something out. And listen, I think he's a bit handicapped. Jaylon Johnson re-aggravated his groin. I do not expect him to play until at least after the bye week. I would expect he's out the next 2 weeks. TJ Edwards re-aggravated the hamstring. Probably the same deal. Kyler Gordon, we don't know his status. He's missed the first 2 games with the hamstring injury as well. I mean, that's 3 of your top probably 5 players on defense. Like, I'm not acting like it's easy. And I'll say this, a lack of a pass rush and a banged-up secondary, that is not a good combination. And we said going into yesterday, is Dio Adengbo, can he do it against good tackles? Nowhere to be found. Montez Sweat making $24 million per year, basically nowhere to be found. Did have a sack taken away from a penalty, but it's just like you're going to have to find something if you're Dennis Allen. If that means you just start going blitz zero all the time and you just take crazy chances, and yeah, you're going to get burned some, but maybe you get some takeaways out of it, maybe that's what you're going to have to do because what we saw yesterday and in that fourth quarter against Minnesota was absolutely no resistance whatsoever. So you've got to find some answers on the defensive side of the football. All right, 3 more things to dive into in terms of the Bears trying to save their season. But first, today's show is brought to you by PrizePicks. You and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. Football is back, and it's so exciting. I'm firing off PrizePicks lineups all the time. It's very easy to play PrizePicks as you just pick more or less on stat projections on 2 to 6 player lineups. If you get your lineup right, you can win up to 2,000 times your money. PrizePicks also invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. We got a doubleheader tonight, and I've cooked up a 4-player lineup for the occasion. Give me Baker Mayfield more than 233.5 passing yards. C.J. Stroud more than half a touchdown pass, which is a goblin play. Those are easier to hit, so it lowers the overall payout on a 4-player lineup. Ashton Genty to find the end zone, rushing or receiving, doesn't matter. And then Justin Herbert, I'll take the less on his 254.5 passing yards. $20 entry to win 140. 4-player lineups are usually 10x, but this one's 7x with the goblin play there for Stroud. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. Number 3, run the football, please. And clearly they have not been that effective overall through 2 weeks doing so. But I thought yesterday Swift at least found some lanes and was getting some positive yards. I get it, he fumbled. Okay, give Kyle Monangai an opportunity. You said, Ben Johnson, that, yeah, I got to call more runs and get Monangai some touches. The only real carries he got were in garbage time. He ended up with 8, but it's like, dude, get him some freaking carries. And I get that game got out of hand. You got to start passing the football. But if this defense is going to struggle, especially with these injuries, you're probably going to have to play some ball control. And on top of that, while I actually, and we'll get to Caleb in a second, I thought there were some positive signs yesterday, he's not ready to carry this thing. You've got to be balanced and run the football. That's just the reality of the situation. Now, it doesn't help when you're not very effective running the football. Bears are minus 0.4 in EPA per run, excluding scrambles. Obviously, Caleb had some good ones in week 1, according to True Media, with the 26.5% success rate. Now, it's a little bit up. I think it was 19% in week 1, but through 2 weeks, 26.5%. That's probably bottom 3 or 4 teams in the NFL, if not the worst. I haven't seen the full 32-team chart yet. It probably won't be out until after tonight's games. It's almost like we screamed for another running back all offseason long. All offseason. And I get the draft. You got a little unlucky when certain guys got picked. Dude, you could have gotten another running back if you really wanted to. You could have gotten someone to pair with DeAndre Swift. I like DeAndre Swift. He's fine. He's not a lead, just bell cow back. That's not who he is. He's proven that to us. There's a reason Philadelphia moved off of him, even though he had 1,000 yards. It's like, yeah, nice player. Yeah, we're going to go get Saquon Barkley. Swift should be a part of a 1-2 punch, and he can be a notable part of that. But, look, try Kyle Monangai. I don't know if there's a move you can make at this point, but you got to get some other guys in there, and you have to just commit to it. You have to keep running the football. If you have to shorten the game, you have to shorten the game. That might have to be the approach in the near future if you're going to try and win some games here. All right, we will be live this afternoon for Overreaction Monday. We will dive into some more overreactions coming up then. Don't know exactly what time. Sometime between 2 and 4 o'clock Central, TBD. So turn on notifications, subscribe. That way you know exactly when we do go live. You will be notified on your phone. Okay, just got to eliminate the mental errors. And a lot of that are just basic penalties. False starts, more of those yesterday. I mean, how many offensive line penalties are happening? I mean, some of the false start. I mean, DeAndre Swift, the first play of the second half, false start by the running back. You can't have a pre-snap penalty on the first play of the half. You talk about in the locker room what play you're going to run. Hey, this is going to be our first play of the second half. The running back false starts can't happen. It just cannot happen. Multiple holdings. You get a shot block. I mean, it's just like, this offense, while it's showing some progress, it's not good enough to go backwards. They got 2nd and 3rd and 30 twice yesterday. Like that just is, you're just not going to be successful doing that. Listen, call me optimistic on the Caleb Williams front. I know everybody wants Tyson Bagent now. Not everybody, but some people do. I actually thought he was playing pretty well yesterday. I thought in the first half he got into a nice rhythm. He was 14 of 19. Yeah, he forced the one interception. Okay, bad mistake. You got to throw that one out of bounds. No one's acting like he was perfect, but I thought he played better than he did last week. And don't take my word for it. Look at this chart, which basically is just an advanced analytical chart of every aspect of the game. The only notable green on the top, which is the Bears, is the passing game. The passing game was the lone positive yesterday, and it could have been a lot better, but you shot yourself in the foot with numerous penalties. It has to stop. This team is not good enough to overcome that stuff, and no one's acting like you're going to have 0 penalties for the game, but you've got 20 penalties through 2 games. That's tied for 29th in the NFL. That is just, you're not a good enough team to overcome that at this point in time. And then lastly, and this gets back more to week 1, when you have the chance to finish a team off, you have to do it. Again, especially this team right now. The margin for error for this Bears team currently is not that big. This isn't the Eagles, who are not playing that well offensively right now, but they're so damn talented, they can play B- football and win games. The Bears cannot. They have to play at or near their best to win games. That's just the reality of the situation. So when you have a team like Minnesota that's struggling mightily offensively, and you're up 17-6, and you got a chance to make it a 3-score game, or you just have to do it. You have got to put a team like that away. And what it comes down to is this team doesn't know how to win yet. And the only way you learn is by literally just doing it. So next time you got the chance to, clearly you didn't have a chance yesterday, you better do it, because otherwise it just becomes psychological. And that's how you turn into a stretch where now you've lost 12 out of 13 games. I mean, this is a losing culture right now. You got to turn it around, and you got to turn it around quickly. Can the Bears turn this season around, or are they just cooked? Type Y for yes, they can, or type N for no, they cannot. I still think it's possible, but it all starts this week. You lose to Dallas, I mean, you're the data tells us you're pretty much done. Obviously, you'll play the last 14 games, and they still matter, but if you're trying to make something out of this season, you got to win on Sunday. All right, that's going to do it for Chicago Bears Now. Again, subscribe, turn on notifications. We'll be live this afternoon, sometime between 2 and 4 Central, so don't miss out on that. We'll see you guys soon. Bear down.